tomorrow, you do. Fucking awesome. Good luck tomorrow, you two. That's good. We're good. Awesome, boys. Fuck yeah. Good luck tomorrow, you two.
I'm here with the challengers.
The first fight since it happened, and yes, we're gonna do something for Kobe. You look at Kobe, the basketball player, right? Then the guy won an Oscar, and all the other things that this guy has accomplished in his life. Well, also he was one of the big investors in Body Armor, the company that's a sponsor of the UFC. He was also an investor in the UFC, and the UFC killed it last year. I mean, 2019. When I say 2019 was our best year. Other years, 2019's through the roof. It was massive. So the owners got a distribution, and Kobe got a distribution from the UFC the Wednesday before the incident. And he was so pumped up and so excited, and and he said what everybody always says, I wish I invested more. But he was a great dude. He was a part of this company. Just Kobe Bryant was a good guy in every way that you can possibly be a good guy.
I know it's been a little unclear because of the injury with Stipe. Is there any update on that? Any time frame for him?
It's very clear. He's hurt, and when he's not, we'll make the fight. But you saw that Cormier basically came out and said Stipe has the ability to retire me. If he doesn't take this fight, then I'm going to retire. So, we'll see how this thing plays out. I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, I know how you feel about Daniel Cormier. You like the guy. You like seeing him compete. He still competes at a very high level, obviously. Would you offer him some other fights, or you think that he's pretty committed to Stipe and then retirement?
Yeah, I have offered him other fights.
You have?
Yeah, I've offered him other fights. I don't want him to retire. I don't think he should retire. But, and you know me, I'm usually the guy chasing guys to retire.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you start to think that way, like he feels like Stipe is the fight that he can get up for and that's what he wants, and he doesn't want anything else. I can't make him fight anybody else. He needs to do it. So I'd like to see that fight happen. Hopefully it does.
I think the most common mistakes all his opponents make is they let doubt creep in. They let the Jon Jones monster get in their heads, and they start doubting themselves within the fight, and then he takes over. And then once he takes over, you're not coming back.
And as you were kind of putting together a game plan, I mean, obviously we've seen what he's accomplished and how great his record is. I mean, do you see a real weakness in his game that you feel like you can exploit, or is it a matter of, just having to go out there and fight a perfect fight to beat this guy?
It's a little bit of both. There's holes in everybody's game. I can't exactly tell you exactly what my game plan is, but there are holes. And it's a combination of watching everybody fight him, and it's kind of putting everything together. He has so much film on him, and I'm able to get that film, break it all down, figure out all the probabilities, all the statistics on his fights, and put it together. But at the same time, I got to be the best version of myself, and I have to fight a near perfect fight as well.
I was never, this is martial arts, right? And art is subjective. So for me, it's not, I don't care how good you are, it's about the artistry. So Yoel has never really been a preference of mine to watch, but you have to respect the skill, his explosiveness and whatnot, everything that he brings. That story Jorge told was a little sprinkly. He had his own little dazzle to it. We're in a club, we're by the pool, outside at the Palms. I had my and the bitches around weren't even mine. They're my friends, allegedly. No, but for me, like I said, I've said what I said. He's a guy that I feel I need him on my mantelpiece, along with Jared, along with Darren Till, along with Paul Acosta, with everyone else, because You have to be the greatest. I want to do right by the division. When was the last time anyone actually stayed and defended the middleweight belt multiple times since Anderson Silva? Exactly. That's the GOAT right there. I'm the baby GOAT coming up.
Those comments.
Yeah, I didn't hear him. I didn't hear what he said. I know that there was some stuff going back and forth, which is going to happen. You know, one of the things when we bought and built the UFC that we always did, you know, being fight fans ourselves, you know, I'm a huge fight fan. Lorenzo was a huge fight fan. Joe Rogan is a huge fight fan. And one of the things that we hated was on HBO boxing and some other boxing that they would do, listen, you're tuning in and buying the pay-per-view because you love these guys and you respect these fighters and you're a fan of the sport. The last thing you want to do is hear somebody ripping them apart. It's not, I'm not into it, Rogan's not into it, you know, and you don't see that in the UFC. There'll be times when I'm pissed off at a guy and I'll voice my opinion on what he did or whatever, or if a fight is really bad or somebody did something. But what we don't do is when a fight is over and a guy loses, we don't go in and rip them apart. Just not our style. It's not, we're fans. We don't do it. So I think Rogan was reacting to that because, you know, that's our philosophy here. And, you know, for Stephen A. Smith, that's his thing. You know, that's what he does. Yeah, it's going to happen. You're always going to have people who have difference in opinions, and especially when you have two very opinionated guys like Stephen A. Smith and Joe Rogan.
He's not really.
Fuck Jon Jones. This is about 248. Enough of that motherfucker. That pulsing-picto-pussy. That mighty pulsing power picto-roid head. Fuck that cunt. We're done with him. Next question.
Но он был точен. Человек описывает свои чувства, какая-то накладка, просто я был в предвкушении того, что насколько они грамотно сыграли, насколько они грамотно выбрали соперника для возвращения, чтобы люди, так скажем, ахнули, да, так скажем. Почему? Потому что 90% людей, которые смотрят смешанные единоборства, они не разбираются. Они просто смотрят, я не знаю имена, и все. А есть, вот эти 10% есть там, миллионы же людей смотрят, а бойцов же не миллион же бойцов. Бойцов, я не знаю, там 300, 400, 500, кто UFC берется. И у них там тренера, так сказать, ну, пару тысяч человек, там, ну, пускай будет 10 тысяч человек, которые разбираются в MMA. Смотрят, кто как, когда проиграл, при каких обстоятельствах, какими приемами, когда он дрался, где дрался, в какой организации. Это все люди знают очень малое количество. А основная масса людей, которые смотрят, им без разницы, кто бьется, как бьется, вообще с кем он дрался или бил соперник, они вообще ничего не знают. Они просто смотрят бой. И вот UFC очень грамотно с этим работает. Вот они выбрали вот этого, как я назвал его, они его выбрали до соперника и очень удачно, так скажем. План действий сработал. И вот люди заново об этом заговорили, скажем, о реванше, хотя Cerrone, по-моему, после 10 боев 7 раз проиграл. Человек 10 раз выходит и проигрывает 7 раз, и его называют мировым бойцом, там, легендой и так далее. Ну, он, пускай будет он легендой, но его песня на одно света. Мы же говорим о президентском бое. Мы же говорим о президенте, человеке, который должен быть и оспаривать мировой титул. А там есть другие бойцы, которые доказывают своим, так скажем, занятостью, своими победами, впечатляющими. Там есть другие претенденты. А вот они пошли вот через другой путь, более медийный, более понятный для людей, но непонятный для экспертов. Из-за этого это же было долгое. Я же вам сказал, думаешь, после боя многие со мной согласились. Но с тем, что вы говорите, что было грубо, согласен. Я просто безусловно, просто хотел достучаться до людей, чтобы они поняли, что не было истории. Ну, я как бы не знаю, я могу ошибаться. Почему? Потому что такая большая организация с такой большой историей, они не будут рисковать. Я говорю, что если там где-то что-то свалится, что я тогда могу считать, что очень большой удар по репутации. А вот соперником, они угадали, потому что соперник, который никогда ничего такого серьезного не выиграл. Он мог там выиграть, потом до большого года доходит, он все сливает. Потому что он ментально очень слабый человек. Психологически правильно. Вот, так бывает. У меня, наверное, просто человек пример, просто хорошо разыгранный, так скажем, цель.